There is only one, the one source that is within. It's also within you, that expands and is part of the living Christ that is all that there is. Spirit, I ask for this congregation that the full effect of treatment and of the word that we hear today is accepted and grows within all of us. That we accept those words and grow to know that what we have is wondrous, beautiful, and lovely, and that we are the embodiment of the Christ that is within and of God. I want to say thank you. Thank you for all there is, for the beauty, goodness, and joy of this place, of our congregation, of our ministers. And I know that I continue to expand on that understanding and growth and love. I release this treatment knowing it is so, that I expand on the message, that I grow in that love, that I leave with happiness, joy, goodness, and wonder of the space in which we are in, and I continue to know that Spirit is all that there is. And for all this I say, and so it is. And now I'm going to introduce Reverend Judith, who will speak on Treat Yourself to Treatment.
Good morning. Well, thank you, girls. You did a wonderful job. Whew. And you know, weren't they? Let's give them a hand. So talented. Wonderful experience you're getting here doing that too. When I was your age, I also was very much into wearing, had to be 3-inch high heels, you know. And notice what I'm wearing today. And it was a challenge when I was your age because I lived in Louisiana, and there are a lot of Cajuns in Louisiana, and they're short people. They're sweet people, but they are short people. And I was 5'8" at 13. And then I added the 3-inch heels. And then it was the 60s, and I had to add 2 or 3 inches of hair, which made me 6'1" or 6'2". But, you know, you had to wear those high heels. You had to learn to do that. So remember that comfortable-ish part. That's important too. Treat yourself to comfortable. So treat yourself to treatment. We often learn that, you know, we spend years learning how to do spiritual mind treatment in our classes. Years. And we learn to perfect it, and we learn about the mystery of it, and that there are things we can't explain on the physical level, that it transcends that, and things that you would call miracles occur. And yet we all live in this world, and we go around and we do our lives, and you know, ministers will often kid ourselves that when all else fails, try treatment. Because we will often try every logical thing we know how to do to get results, and then we remember, oh yes, treatment. And in treatment, we know, in spiritual mind treatment, we know our oneness. We know our oneness with God. We know our oneness with each other. And we know that all of life is one. And then we go around spending most of our time acting as if we are separate and alone and unsupported, and certainly separate from one another. And we can get pretty mean-spirited in that separateness, sure that it's us against them, and we're better than they are. And even all of this teaching of oneness that we have done, our organizations, as you know, have been too in religious science and now Centers for Spiritual Living. And this last week, Bob and I, and they were separated at birth, you know, they separated at birth. It had to do with organizational style. And Reverend Bob and I attended this last Thursday and Friday, an historic event that was an integration meeting that had about 200 United Centers for Spiritual Living ministers and about 200 international Centers for Spiritual Living ministers there together. And we came together to get to know one another, because it's hard to dislike someone that you know. Once you know them, you can love them. And it was really interesting because we shared how we're organized with one another. And when they would call forth the United ministers, all the United people who knew them would applaud. They know them and love them. And then when they called forth the international people, all of us would applaud because, of course, we knew and loved them. The day that we shared how we're organized and how we do education, you could just see the energy just sort of becoming more and more like this, because we're all going, oh my God, how are we ever going to become one? We do things so differently, and we're each sure we do them better. So we have a lot of BS going around in our heads. It's belief systems. You have a lot of those operating, and we have to get beyond that BS to really get to a new truth. And so it was wonderful. The last day we did visioning, which is just going within and seeing what messages or images that we receive from Spirit about this. And then we were asked to draw them, whatever we received, to draw it and share it and put it up on the wall. And I was so moved by those images. One of the BS in my head was that International wanted this more than United did, because in the process of approaching one another, it seemed like every time we would approach them, they would say, "Not now, we're busy," and they'd say things like, "You guys need to go do some of your own work first." And so it always seemed like they weren't ready, interested. And when I saw the passion and the beauty of the art and how they explained it, I realized that many of them have wanted this just as passionately as many of us have wanted it to be one. And we were just projecting that they didn't. When they said, "Not yet, we're busy," they were busy cleaning up their own act. It wasn't personal. Do you see what I mean? And that happens in our dealings with people as well. When people act like brats to us, when they're mean-spirited, we tend to take it personally. And it's usually not about us. It's about them.